Can you tell me how you, as a business person, approach the whole networking thing, but in particular, how it looks to you, how a person should approach using LinkedIn as an example?
Context of marketing, I would see LinkedIn as an added form of marketing. So it's certainly not an exclusive venue that you can leave everything else out. Um, People need to see, I think it's 7 times or so people need to see you before they buy. It's certainly not a retail shop. It's not a window dressing where you've got for sale items with mannequins dressed up in, 89.99 special offer. It's not about that at all because people don't go onto LinkedIn to buy. They go to sell. So, and everybody's kind of got the same agenda. So it's an opportunity to showcase your journey of what you're doing, how you're doing, and you can kind of utilize that journey in the way that fits your personality. So I think to a large extent, it's also an extension of people's personalities as well. And people who I see who have got positive vibes about them, that put out positive posts, gratitude, good attitude, all that sort of thing, are people who I want to be more in touch with, more connected with. I want to help them out. I kind of want to be associated with them because I enjoy that positivity. So for me personally, LinkedIn is my positive space. So on the flip side, if I see somebody constantly putting out negative posts and stuff like that, it just I just unfollow. Um, I wouldn't usually do it the first time. Sometimes people slip up, they have an angry day, they put a post out, about one of their suppliers or customers or some, so I kind of let it go. But if it starts happening repetitively, it kind of takes away some of my positive energy and I just kind of go away from that. There are some other posts as well, personally aren't suited to my tastes. So when I see swearing and stuff like that, I don't appreciate it. I don't criticize it either. It's not for me to judge anybody, but I try to see it more as a clean platform. I don't think it's necessary to have that type of stuff on LinkedIn or any social media for that matter. I'm not a saint myself. It's things that I fall into the trap myself. But the difference between LinkedIn and real life, or rather wording and written form and verbal form, the difference that I see is quite big because with the written form, you can premeditate what you're writing. So it's not compulsive. And sometimes when I've thought of putting a post out, usually it's spontaneously when I post. But when I have occasionally thought about putting a post out that might have a negative connotation, even though I'm not trying to make it negative, I would think more about it. And even though I typed out the whole thing, which took me time, etc., so I'd think, you know what, let me think about it overnight, and then I would just delete the whole thing because, yes, I'm trying to bring some positivity out of it potentially, but I'm just not going down that route. So it's for me personally, I've been on LinkedIn, I would say probably for well over 10 years now, since I first joined. And for many years, what I utilized it for was to build relationships with suppliers as opposed to trying to find clients. So I'm connected with a large amount of competitors, which, if you're trying to find clients, isn't always necessarily the best way of going about it. Um, More recently, I've been connecting with a lot of prospect clients and just people in general. I haven't got an issue connecting with people if I can read their name in the English form and they're not going to spam me. I've got no issue connecting with them. I do connect with a large amount of people. I've got more than 22,000 connections now, which in the greater sense means it means nothing. I know it's easy to say, like, like, but practically speaking, it's not about the volume. It's about the quality that I have with many people. And yesterday, when I was at an exhibition, there were several people who I met who I'd never met face to face yet, but I've had a relationship with them largely on LinkedIn. over the last few years. Some of them I'd already been working with, some I hadn't been working with. And this kind of nurtured the relationship. But again, this is on the supplier side. On the client side, it is something that I'm building up on as well. It did take many years to start getting leads, inbound leads via LinkedIn, which is something that's materializing now on a regular basis. But I'm not going to try and say that, my inbox is flooded on a day-to-day basis, everyone pouring in, we want to buy, we want to buy. But again, going back to what I was saying previously, is it's just one form of marketing. It's not free at all, LinkedIn. Certainly not for me because it takes up a lot of my time, which is time is money. So it might come across as free if you pay for a digital ad. If you pay for a print ad, it costs you X amount. But practically speaking, my time costs me a lot more than what I would pay in physical ads. But it's a lot more personal. And a dilemma I've had over time is whether to post from my personal page or whether to post from a brand page. Because the brand page, people don't connect with as much as they connect with a person. That's not always true, I think. I think if it's a corporate brand, people connect more with the brand than with the people. So, for instance, Apple, people will connect with the Apple page, they will follow it because it's Apple, right? So it's not it. I would say it's because it's me, it's not Apple in that sense. I'm connecting for me, I'm not connecting for Apple, right? When they go into an Apple store, they don't know everybody by name.
Yeah.
They might remember one person's name when they walk out, if that, but the main focus is I got the new iPhone, I need to tell everybody about it. Whereas if it's a smaller brand, it doesn't connect the same way. Having said that, I've managed to build up a large following already, which has taken a lot of time and effort on our Smarternet LinkedIn page. And we're starting to post more there and get more interaction behind the scenes. So the way I tend to work with prospect clients, so I generally don't put it in the public forum. So I interact a lot behind the scenes in private messages. So firstly, I send I would say probably about at least 500 birthday messages a month.
Wow.
So, and I don't sort of scrutinize who should get a birthday message, who shouldn't. So every day, whoever comes up, that's their birthday. And the majority of my connections, it doesn't show me their birthday for some reason. I think it's more newer connections for some reason. So if it's 500 a month on an average basis, it's about 6,000 a year. And I've got 22,000 plus connections. So that is almost 25% of my connections. And I edit it as well. So I kind of make it less generic. I put their name to it. So, it's something that maybe takes 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a day. It's not a massive deal to do. And why not? Why not kind of, if 10 people don't appreciate it, maybe the 11th person appreciates it. And I'm not expecting anything in return. It's not that, okay, like I've wished you happy birthday. Now you need to buy from me. It's very much about keeping those relationships genuine, keeping them up. I try to interact with people's posts as much as possible. I do see people struggling to break through on LinkedIn, and it's tough. I see people coming on LinkedIn with all the inspiration, and they make that breakthrough, the first video, the first something, the first post, and they get lots and lots of interaction, and they think, "Wow, this is amazing!" Like, we've broken through now, and I got 100 likes. So next one, I'm going to get 200, and then the next one, 300. And then they put out another post a day later, a week later, and they get one person interacting with a post like, oh my gosh, the LinkedIn algorithm, what just happened? So I do try to support people where I can on LinkedIn. The struggle is real. It's not, I've experienced it myself. I know what it's like. It could be to put a post out, it could take you a minute to put a post out. It could take you an hour. It could take you a day. And sometimes you really, really you don't know based on how much time you're going to spend in it. It doesn't necessarily reflect on how much interaction you're going to have and how much visibility you have. So it is quite interesting because a lot of the people who interact with my posts are not and people who I interact with in general on LinkedIn, a lot of them are not prospect clients for me. Again, a lot of it is the supplier relationship, but even not necessarily supplier prospect, but they help get you to the next stage, which is to clients or to suppliers. So it's important to keep on good terms with these people. And then there are the famous or infamous LinkedIn lurkers. I'd call them famous for now, which is quite interesting because when I go to functions, I get to hear, oh yeah, I see you on LinkedIn, and I'm like, oh, we connected? Like, yeah. Okay, fine. So it's interesting how many people see it, and we don't know who's seeing it. So it's very, very different to traditional marketing. Print ads, kind of, it gets seen. If it gets seen, it goes in the bin or recycling, whatever it is, and then that's the end of it. And nobody can interact with it as well. There's no call to action the same way. So somebody reads a newspaper over the weekend, it's like, okay, very nice. Next week, okay, very nice. But there's no flow through it. You can't kind of message somebody directly from the print, kind of take a pen and kind of start messaging them, where there's some empty space there. Yeah, it's a nice platform to be on. You've got the social side, which for me is quite important as well because I'm an introvert. I'm certainly not an extrovert, whatever my profile might portray me as. It's certainly not me being an extrovert, but it helps me when I do go to exhibitions and I go to actual events and people know me because of my networking. It helps me break out more and have more of a relationship because we're ready at stage 2.
It's really interesting you say that because LinkedIn is very much about people. It's about people connecting with people.
Correct.
And it's almost like walking into a room and already having the business card exchange and saying hi and this is who
Yeah.
I am. You've already gone past that stage being online. Do you ever feel though a certain apprehension? I certainly do, being sort of out there in the public on LinkedIn. I'm saying on whatever marketing you do, I suppose it's the same. But at least with an advert, you can hide behind your company. With LinkedIn post, it's real vulnerability. It's real personal.
Yeah. I hear that, and I think a lot of people, from the feedback I get, a lot of people are afraid to post. What if people see? What if they say this? What if they say the other? And practically speaking, I do lose connections on LinkedIn as well. I put a post out, a personal post, about a month ago on Holocaust Remembrance Day, about my father's journey, how he came to be born essentially during the Holocaust, and I lost a few connections afterwards. So it's interesting. It's kind of I don't know who, and I don't lose sleep over who kind of disconnected, and I'm not going to start going through and trying to work out based on 22,000 connections kind of who am I missing and stuff. It is what it is, and it helps my journey because if people don't want to see it, they don't want to be connected, for whatever reason, then it helps me kind of move forward as well without them because if there's not going to be a relationship, better now than later. So that's the way it is. And I have some posts that do really, really don't go well on LinkedIn, and I don't delete them because in a previous lifetime, I might have thought, oh gosh, like what if people see like this post got 50 likes and this one only got 1.5 likes? Like I better delete the 1.5 because obviously it's not a good post and people see it doesn't reflect well. It's just too bad. It's out there. Think what you want. I can't force people what to think, and life continues. I think if we in general, if we think too much in life, then we just don't get anywhere. We just gotta kind of just move forward and let people worry about their own issues and just do what we think is best, really. Um yeah, and I think it's important for me personally as an extension of who I think I'm trying to be. It's important for me to help people as much as I can on LinkedIn. If people need an introduction to somebody else, why not? If I can help boost people's posts, why not? Like, again, I try not to interact with negative posts. I don't always get to see full posts. Unfortunately, I've not been commenting on people's posts for the majority of the last month or two or so. That's not the fault of anybody's posts. It's just of kind of, because I try to like so many people's posts, it takes a huge amount of headspace for me. So I'm trying to take in a screenshot almost what the post says. And if it resonates with me, just put a quick like on it, go to the next one, the next one, the next one. So supposing I do 100 a day, it's probably possibly more than that on an average basis. But if I like 100 posts versus commenting, I might only be able to, within that time frame, a headspace, I might only be able to comment on 5 or 10 posts. So I feel to some extent I'm contributing more to help people boost their post, especially I think it's supposed to be within the first hour of when somebody posts, the more interactions they get, the more the algorithm pushes it out. So if I can just as and when, okay, another post, another post, another post, just like, and then help push it out, why not? So it's a time investment to be on LinkedIn for sure. And there are pods that people use. That's very controversial. Anybody who's on a pod swears it's the right thing to do. Anyone who's not on a pod swears it's the wrong thing to do.
Saying what a pod is?
Yeah. So from my perspective, what I think a pod is where it's a group of people who say they have a WhatsApp group between each other. So they might post, say, between 7 and 9 a.m. every day or most days. And as soon as they've put the post out, they will copy and paste the link to the post on the WhatsApp group. And everybody else, at least everybody else who's posting that day, would like and comment something substantial on that post. From my perspective, the issue that I find that doesn't really resonate with me is that, firstly, a lot of them are managed by other people, which is great because it kind of takes your focus. You're kind of being promoted as yourself by somebody else. So it lets you focus on your day to day. On the other hand, it doesn't really come across as genuine. Like I could see very often when people's posts are managed for them. And I know if it was managed for me, it's just not me. It doesn't speak the way I do. And I don't know, I don't even know who I'm interacting with. So I'm not here to criticize it. It's just a different way of doing it. And there is what I find with some pods. I'm familiar with several of them, and again, I can see who's in a pod. I've got that trained eye for it, maybe. That some of them have a certain concept where if you interact with their post, they'll then send you a connection request, and they'll send you a message with it as well, thanking you for liking their post. It'd be great to connect, but then they've got nothing to do with you afterwards. So for them, it's a great method because if I'm liking their post, chances are I'm going to like it again in the future and again and again. So I'm an extra person who can boost their post, but there is no relationship. Again, very often I'm not even dealing with that person. Someone else is sending that message on their behalf. So again, I'm not looking to take business away from any of these pods, but I think maybe even the genuine ones, their headspace might be utilized for the people within the pod. So there might be 30 people all commenting, liking each other's, but I kind of feel like a bit of an outsider if I like or comment on their post. It's kind of it's just another person, but they don't sort of have any real interactions with me. So it kind of just doesn't really resonate. So they'll put another post out on a day-to-day basis. And I think really that for me to be on a pod, I've tried a bit here or there, but it just doesn't work with me because I'm personally, I need to be an independent person. I can't be told what to do. So you have to comment on everybody's post. You got, well, what if it doesn't resonate with me? What if they're swearing on it? What if it's a negative post? And what if I've got nothing to say? So yes, it might work for some people. Personally, I I wish them the best, but and still I'll try and help them out when I can. If they've got 40 likes, if they can get 41st, why not? It doesn't make a difference to my life. It's just I'm anyway scrolling through.
Awesome. Listen, you've been extremely detailed and helpful. And it's great, all the things you've been saying. Thank you very much.